In 1972, Oldsmobile didn't just build a muscle car, they built a liability. It was a 455 cubic inch monster that sat awkwardly between the glorious golden age of muscle and the suffocating malaise era right around the corner. This is the story of the 1972 HurstOlds, the forgotten titan that was too loud, too flashy, and according to some executives at GM, just too much for the public to handle. It remains the last true breath of the American muscle car before the world changed forever. But the real story isn't just about a crash. It's about how this car even managed to exist in the first place. To understand the 1972 HurstOlds, you have to remember what it felt like to stand on the edge of that year. If you were there, you remember the feeling. The party was ending. The unrestrained horsepower wars of the late 60s were slamming into a brick wall of federal regulations, soaring insurance premiums, and the early rumblings of an energy crisis. Compression ratios were dropping across Detroit to handle the incoming unleaded fuel. The legendary big blocks were being choked out. Most manufacturers were waving the white flag, turning their fire-breathing dragons into decal packages with emissions-strangled small blocks. But here's where it gets crazy. Oldsmobile didn't get the memo. While everyone else was downsizing, the engineers in Lansing were hiding a sledgehammer inside a luxury suit. They knew the end was near, and they decided to go out swinging. The HurstOlds partnership was always an odd marriage, wasn't it? You had Oldsmobile, the conservative bankers hot rod division of GM, and then you had Hurst Performance, the wild aftermarket renegades known for massive shifters and even bigger promotional stunts involving Linda Vaughn. It was like mixing gunpowder with grandma's apple pie. By 1972, Olds brass wanted out of the boy racer business, but George Hurst was a relentless salesman. He convinced Olds to do one more run, tied to the prestigious role of pacing the Indianapolis 500. The plan was simple. Take the Cutlass Supreme, which was rapidly becoming the best-selling car in America, and turn it into a weapon. But here's the part most people miss. GM had a strict corporate edict limiting engine size in mid-size cars. However, because Hurst was an outside modifier, they found the loopholes. The result was a machine that technically shouldn't have been on a Chevy or Pontiac dealer's lot. Let's talk about the heart of this beast, the legendary Oldsmobile 455 Rocket V8. If you look at the spec sheets from 1972, you might be confused. Horsepower numbers plummeted that year because the industry switched from gross ratings to net ratings. On paper, the base 455 was rated around 270 net horsepower. But don't let that fool you. The number that actually mattered was torque. We're talking about a pavement-cracking 460 foot-pounds of it, available barely off idle. This thing pulled like a freight train. It wasn't about high RPM screaming, it was about effortless neck-snapping thrust from stoplight to stoplight. If you knew the right boxes to check, and almost nobody did, you could get the W-30 option. This added a hotter cam, an aluminum intake, and the forced air induction setup. It was a true drag strip contender disguised as a personal luxury coupe. But then things took a turn for the strange. Inside the cabin, you got the staple of the HurstOlds lineage, the Hurst dual-gate shifter. They called it the his and hers shifter. You left it in drive for cruising around town with your date, but throw the lever over to the right gate and you had a manual ratchet shifter for banging through the gears without any fear of missing a shift. It was pure mechanical theater. But the most unique feature of the 72 wasn't actually under the hood or in the console. It was the paint. That cameo white and fire frost gold wasn't just paint. The gold stripes were actually a reflective 3M material developed for road signs. At night, when headlights hit it, the car literally glowed in the dark. It was spectacular, it was innovative, and it was about to become infamous. May 27, 1972. The Indianapolis 500. The HurstOlds is the official pace car, and millions of eyes are on it. The field comes around for the start, the green flag drops, and the pace car pulls into the pit lane. But the driver, a local dealership owner not a professional racer, misjudged his speed. He was coming in way too hot. The brakes locked up, the big old slid violently, and it crashed right into a photographer's stand filled with press. It was a disaster. National television captured the golden-striped hero car smashing into a crowd. Miraculously, no one was killed, but the damage to the car's reputation was done. Oldsmobile executives were horrified. The conservative suit-and-tie guys in Detroit saw their worst fears realized. The too fast, too wild image they had tried to cultivate now had a public safety warning attached to it. After the race, Oldsmobile barely promoted the car. They swept it under the rug. They only ended up building about 629 of these cars, 130 convertibles, and 499 hardtops. It was a tiny fraction of total Cutlass production. For decades, the 72 was the red-headed stepchild of the HurstOlds lineup, overshadowed by the more famous 68s and 69s. But today, the secret is finally out. Collectors have realized that this car represents the last stand of a dying era. It was the last time you could get that kind of big block torque in a stylish A-body package before the 5-mile-per-hour bumper regulations ruined the lines in 1973. If you try to find a real, documented W-30 convertible today, you're looking at a 6-figure price tag. Even the hardtops have appreciated massively because the kids who saw these cars in 1972 finally have the money to buy the dream. But here is the final twist that most people don't know. The 1972 HurstOlds wasn't actually supposed to be a legend. It was a parts bin special. In reality, Oldsmobile was clearing out inventory. They had leftover 455 engines, leftover performance parts, and they needed a way to move the outgoing body style before the totally redesigned Colonnade models arrived for 1973. It was essentially a clearance sale on high-performance horsepower. And yet, by total accident, they created one of the most charismatic and rarest muscle cars of the decade. The 72 HurstOlds proved that even when the industry was being forced to change, American muscle wouldn't go down without a fight. It wasn't actually too fast for the road. It was just too much for the year 1972 to handle. Do you remember seeing one of these white and gold beauties rumbling through your hometown back in the day? Or maybe you were one of the lucky few who actually got to shift that dual gate. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're digging up the forgotten stories of American automotive history every single week, and you won't want to miss what we find next. Drop a comment below and let us know. Was the 72 HurstOlds the last real muscle car, or did the era end in 1970? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.